Hey everybody in the chat room. Sorry we're a bit late today. It's been a bit of an evening. Today is the 30th of April 2018, Monday. We have muted at the moment. We have Josh from America. We have Levkungfu from UK and Nobleman David. Hello, Nobleman David.
Hello.
Hello, my darling.
Hello. How are we doing?
Just before David talks, I don't know where Astrid is. He's still not woken up. And Patricia had problems with her computer. So it's just been... Even Lev had to go off and come back on. So, yeah, sorry for the delay. But anyway, it's great to be here. And... hey. That's it. That's it. You're the right way around now.
1 minute, technicalities, we're good. Beautiful.
Hey. So, and David.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, sister.
Yeah, I was just explaining just before we went live that you've been doing rather a lot lately, kind of doing loads of hangouts, explaining, and haven't you?
That's better. Say that again. You broke up a little bit. I dropped you.
You've been doing a lot on Facebook, on hangouts, on trying to talk, get your message across, explain.
Yeah, it's been very lively, to say the least. I think we've intake about 500 members in the last 10, 14 days, mostly, yeah, from the Liverpool area, Manchester area, surrounding areas. It's been very busy. Yes, we wasn't prepared for such an influx and a high amount of questions, and yeah, just confusion generally, a lot of confusion. We are a group of family that like to go into things prepared, sister. We often or seldom go into a situation where we are blind or are unsure of facts, and this week has been one of those weeks where we was duly blind to some extent and unaware of everything that was going off. So it's been trying for lots of people for lots of different reasons. Yeah, it's ended up in a tragic loss and stuff. I don't want to dwell on that, but yeah, it's been we've pulled together and we did what was required as as and when.
Just in case people are not sure of who you are, can you explain what that's about then, David? What you're doing? Just for people who they don't know.
Yeah, I can have a go. I can try. We have at the minute my control room here. Let me just turn the phone around for the benefit of the camera. There's a little. I've got my laptop on my screen now. I have my laptop there behind me, and I've got a secondary screen there. And this is displaying my Facebook trust, which is Sovereign Paralegal. So we're a little private family, if you like. Even though we're on the public domain of YouTube, you may be thinking, well, how can you be private if you're obviously on a YouTube channel, which is not private, but you can go out in the public and still be in a private capacity. I'm not claiming a public title as such, and we see ourselves in a different capacity to the rest of the nation, we'll say, because we don't see us being in the United Kingdom, for instance. So we have a little family. We are private, and we can be private and come out in the public and still be private. So that explains that, because often people think, oh, brothers and sisters get like, well, you can't come out in the public if you're private, but you have a belief system in your soul, in your body, and if you have a gut feeling when things are wrong. And we're a collection of indigos, I suppose, light workers, healers, general self-governing, conscious, sentient men and women that they like to have a chat, and we like to have deep chats, and we like to correlate law. We like to look at old parts of law. We like to look at old books and dictionaries and definitions and implied meanings and languages and history, and the structure of evidence that's been presented to us over the few hundred years, you know, with civilization and technological evolution. That's how we met, with my interest with the earth, the data, you know, the realm that we live in, who it's controlled by, how it come to be, what it actually is, and the suppression of the information and the first-hand knowledge around the land mass that we presently live on. So the land mass also comes into law, and you are considered land in law to some extent, and there's a land registry entailed. And I haven't got you some. I'll get you some documents in a bit, but if you want to go further, the news of late has highlighted a particular issue resulting in an argument for title and property, and this property may have been in what's called a trust environment in a public domain. This trust environment of the public domain where the property was, you know, has been a speculation of media attention from all over the world, and we was privy to some inside information from concerned family members to this news story to say that, or this, you know, situation, the private situation that got public attention, and we advised, well, we informed, we explained we don't, you know, give out legal advice, but we are trained in some areas of civil, private, public, criminal law areas to maybe perhaps read the situation and give an overall opinion of where we see things at. So we started off, Karen, I don't know if you're aware, but in 2015 November, and it was to do with PCNs and small things like monetary fiscal issues to do with debt, agents of the Crown calling themselves High Court sheriffs that are actually debt collectors or bailiffs, or even, you know, Marston's and Newlin and certain companies that you hear going around. There are other debt collection companies available in the Corporation of the United Kingdom, but these are the two favourite ones that we deal with at the minute, and they go around collecting on liability orders for unpaid council tax, and they try to go and collect goods to the value of from private residents' homes, and these private residents answer to a public name. So the key to our knowledge is don't answer to a public name, don't afford yourself public liability. So doing that on Facebook is a bit of a, you know, it's a bit of a hot potato. So we've developed the website over the last 8 months, and that's where we're going to import the Sovereign Masters Guild workshops, if you like. I think that might be the final title for them, and we will give out some free trials where you'll get a 24-hour access account on the .com, and you'll get to take some of the foundation courses of which I'm talking about now. Everything you need to get through in life to protect yourself, we will give you, like your shield of steel. I grew up on 80s cartoons, so if you remember Batfink, when the police tried to catch him, he used to wrap his little wings around him and say, "My wings are like a shield of steel. Your bullets cannot harm me." So in effect, you're going to turn and get yourself some shield of steel in your body armor, which is here, which is your mental kung fu. So you'll go on the site and get a free account for 24 hours from when you create it, and you'll get access to the foundation courses and some of the site's structure and the community itself. So I don't know, Karen, we're in a bit of a diabolical situation with knowledge, intelligence, freedoms, liberties, liabilities, and things like that. So we want to develop it as we would see necessary in this current time, with the level of understanding and the current position, the legal implication that we've all got around us that none of us are aware of, which can often end up in losing property. And when we say property, we don't just mean an iron horse or a vehicle, we mean your blood. And when the state interfere with man's blood, then let me tell you now, a lot of us stand up and stick together, and that's one thing we will join up on. When the state says it owns somebody's blood, and it clearly doesn't, but in a legal basis it does, but in a morality and a principle-based part of it, it doesn't, and it only gets that because of consent. So we need to look at consent and how consent is gained, and what is consent, and what you're consenting to, and whom and how. And if you go to www.spospro.com, you'll find a family that's establishing there in a private capacity. And this website will go into a trust, and it will be managed by myself and agents and trustees, and it will be placed into trust. I've expressed it verbally, it just needs doing on the paperwork side of it, and trustees appointed and publishing, and we're all set to go and move forward in a new way, you know, in a private, protected, intelligent, non-confrontational, evolutionary way of this technology. This is called trust technology. You've all been using it, you just haven't been taught it. So we're not the masters by a long shot. I know nothing in the grand scheme of things, absolutely nothing. I know what I've gone out and collected with the others that are in the Facebook domain and that are presently on the Indiglow channel, which is this that I'm on with now. And then you guys, you know, expanding ever. We just spread the message, and that's what we do. We're not humble. We don't, you know, claim to know it all, and we'll help anybody that's genuine. Go. Yield. Breathe.
It's an extremely deep thing, this, isn't it? I can hear
Wow,
it
deep,
in
yeah.
your voice.
It is, yeah. It's serious. It's deep, and of late, issues of late have made us all be a bit somber, a bit more focused, a bit more serious. The nation, the world, the plane has joined and said, you know, this can't be right. You know, this isn't right. We don't understand it. We heard rumours. Now we kind of seeing it. Somebody please explain. You know, and that's where we've tried to explain. And I can't reveal anything. I don't wish to reveal anything that's gone off personal. It's not my place to. I'm effective trustee in, you know, in capacity to others. I'm not working with anybody connected with anything currently than my own private affairs and the trust's affairs. But we have, you know, had involvement in a small part, you know, you know, we ended up talking to a priest at one point and talking to a priest about his capacity and why he's stood outside, you know, a place of military installation. If you don't know who runs a hospital or what the hospital is for, it'll be maybe a bit of a shock to you to find out they are wards of the state. You're born in a ward of the state, and that ward of the state is a military installation. So hospitals aren't as you see them. They're not a public place owned by the public. They're sweet and innocent, and you go there to benefit from care. And you go to a hospital, what do you do to get service, to get treatment? They ask you your name, your age, confirm your sex, and your national insurance number, and your surname. So you get your date of birth, your national insurance number, and your surname. You've then basically contracted, and it's the same with anything. You know, that's how the world works. And we didn't know that by giving a name, surname, the family name, which is a surname, and the date of birth, and sometimes a national insurance number, you are agreeing to being an entity that you are not. And by being that entity, you take on the public liability. So we have to strip that back. And when someone like the state says no to property owners, property parents, and the parents are confused and go into high courts and things, then, and it's in the news, we had to go and do something. We had a chat in our private family, and we got a fund together, a private separate fund, and we says, give us some diesel and we'll go down and go and see what we can do with the, you know, permission, the blessing of some of the close family members and the supporters. So incidentally, I did a video, a message to you know, guys involved in the Liverpool incident of recent, and I'm just shocked with the 8,600 views it settled at within 5 days. It's the most popular video that Indiglow has done because it's got emotion tied to it. It's got a purpose tied to it. It's a video that others were involved in me making because they prompted me to, and I got like 50, 60 messages to try and, you know, do something. I cried several times throughout the week for long periods for the sake of the parents and what was going off and everything. So if nobody knows what's going off, I'm not going to point it out. I'm just, you know, glossing over, and it's your show and your channel. You can, you know, fill that in, sister. But yeah, it was just, you know, we all as human beings, as man and woman, know what it's like to lose family and family members. And when you see a brother fall or a sister fall, it's hard enough. But when you actually see over a long, prolonged period of time in a public way, a small, tiny little brother have that kind of restriction upon its not liberties and not freedoms, but rights, unalienable, God-given rights. There's nobody can interfere with that, and the legal system somehow makes it suitable and acceptable for man en masse to see, even the creators of that property, see it slip away and to fade to nothing and lay down its wings and rise up to the creator again at such an early age, when it's in an institution what could have helped it. And for further you know, just for the last bit, there was instrumentation outside of that military installation come from foreign lands. More than one foreign land had taken interest in this, and they was prepared to offer remedy. And as far as we see it, the property owners and the actual the one that was involved, you know, that ended up losing his little life, they were denied that, and they were denied that by the ones that rule this this trust and this United Kingdom of theirs, it's you know, when a guys ask me questions, how can this be done? I'm forced to tell you because we know how it's done, and this is now the aftermath and the busyness that we're getting of the recent public events that the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister and the parliamentary government and the ministers and the Lords and the European Court of Human Rights and everybody else that seems to stand there, and even the Vatican to some extent. Well, even the Vatican, because we chat to the priest, and the world baffles me. It really does. It's just, it really is just baffling sometimes. The fiction is easier to believe than the truth, and that's really sad for mankind. You know.
Yeah, that's because it's absolutely crazy what we're in, isn't it? That's why.
It's all upside down, back to front. It really is. Really
it's
is.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you can see why people fight, can't you? Really, you know, even though we know, it's still like it's just so immense. It boggles my mind sometimes.
I'm just going to log on and get into the chat room so I can see some comments and type some comments. Just bear with me because you'll get an echo. Here we go. Good. I want to see the comments, see what's happening. I like to say hello.
Yeah, and please put your channel that you've been talking about in the chat room.
Blessings, fist bumps. Who else have we got tonight that's going to be chatting, or is there any questions? Is anybody, you have a look in your chat room and see if anybody wants to ask any questions, or if there's any topics, or I don't know. Can I post a link to it? Would I be able to post a link to my website in the chat room then? Would that be all right, sister?
Sure. In the chat room, does anybody have any questions for Nobleman David? He'd be able to help on more legal things. Yes, we need protection on the site for things like maritime, admiralty, law, etc. Carry on, Lev. Sorry.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we didn't have to have them shields of steel kind of thing, the wings of steel or whatever.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
It's a shame, innit?
That we haven't implemented a fair and just system that doesn't need a robust, massive amount of statutes and codes. And yeah, we could just do away with all the BS and go back to common law. Anybody breaks that, you're in the crap. The legal system, it needs to go, yeah, because legal is not real. It's not, it really isn't. The law is an ass, you know, ignorance is no defense. If a man, look at this, right? You're in 2018 and you've all got a good amount of intelligence. So who that is listening to these vibrationally phonic words now at this point or later when after it's recorded can answer me the following: who are you and what are your rights? Because in law, in this present de facto court system that's global, not just in the UK courts, but in Italian, Greek, Spanish, American, Portuguese, Guantanamo, all of them, you know what I mean? Every kind of 99.9. This is the rules. If you don't know your rights in law, then you have no rights, because they won't tell you, and ignorance is no defense. So if you've got a claim laid upon you and it's a serious one, then you're in trouble, because if you don't know what's going on, then you need to get help. So what do? You go to the governing ones to get help. Who are they? They're the Law Society. Who are they? They're in the same gang as the rest of them. So it's the system that isn't yours, and you go to somebody who's in that systems gang to help you out. Now have a think about that, because wow, it's just like, whoa, okay, it's amazing. And we're also discovering, for your viewers, I will give you this for free because I love you all, and this is powerful stuff and you need it. So there will be, out of the 53 watching now, at least 15 or 20, I imagine, that will make a note and research this, or to come to our website or to the group and have a look, or to go and look on YouTube and find videos about the will and testament. Imagine that that you and your partner have got a family, any one of you, not just you, sister, but anyone, Lev, viewers, all of you. You've got you and your family. There's you and your partner, and you've got a couple of 3 kids, and you've got a bit of a mortgage and a reasonable amount of debt, and you know, you're doing nice. And one day, one of you gets a mental health illness. You might not be married. You might be living together, you know, out of wedlock, with the children that in-law called bastard children because they're born out of wedlock, you know, and you know they don't really get respected. But you know, I'm sorry for that bit. And later, one of you gets diagnosed with a mental health issue, and it may be that you develop schizophrenia, and you've got schizophrenia, and you're diagnosed, and later down the line, you've been managing well, a year or 2 down the line, a claim comes against you, a legal claim, and it turns out that while he was in shopping, you'd slipped into character, and you'd put something somewhere, an item, and you'd forgot about it, and you'd paid for your shopping, and security guard had seen you, or someone had grassed you up, and you'd taken an item like by theft, common law theft. But because you're schizophrenic, this is, I know it's a long stretch, but I picked this up from Radio 1 Surgery on Sunday, and apparently people with mental health issues get prosecuted for crimes. And I was like, what? Say that again? You've got a mental health issue and you treat like a criminal, but your mental health should be mitigating enough to stop you being litigated for that said offence. But no, you've got a mental health issue and you go out there and commit a crime, you're dealt with under the law because you've broke the law. And it's like, well, that's not a law, that's by consent. Because you've got a mental health issue, you can't determine, you're not actually able to, you don't know what's what. So you're at a disadvantage. You are, you know, mentally disabled and you're legally disabled, like all of you will be, and me as well, because I'm not a trained, I'm legally disabled, but I'm lawfully strong. Now, you're looking at a custodial, a small non-custodial sentence for breach of, you know, the Consumer Act and certain things like what you breach when you commit common law theft and you take from the property without paying. So therefore, you may now get the social services involved because you're classed as a criminal, and you've got children, offspring, property, and the services get involved, you know, at some point, and then they come in and you start signing stuff and letting them in, and they do assessments, and you see where you've got to in a very short space of time. Now, it may be that you lose your spouse or something due to a criminal or a financial, maybe not criminal charge, but they may get behind with something, and they may get sick, and they may get taken away and go in a coma, and then their bills build up because they're not working. And the bills are building up, and you're left on your own with the family, and your partner's in, you know, coma in hospital. So you lose track of the money. And, you know, Barry comes knocking at the door for his enforcement orders. And if you guys haven't done what's called like this isn't one, but a last will and testament, and you haven't put down on some paper somewhere that if you lose all of your faculty, or you lose any, if you're deemed by the state to be incapacitated for whatever reason, for it be legally, criminal charges, mental health charges, and you're right now living in a common law setup, like a lot of us are, out of wedlock, with the children out of wedlock, in the eyes of the law, with the certificate of registration, then you're in a very, very delicate situation, because they will come and assume guardianship because no other agreement is in place, like a last will and testament with an executor of the estate, or somebody to control the property in the estate. So you know, things can quickly get out of hand very seriously and very fast in our own personal, you know, private lives. And then when you go out there to seek advice and help, the ones that give it you are all in the gang, and they're all we in the same pot, and they don't have your best interest at heart. It's a business. So when we found that out, sister, we had to go and preach it from the rooftop and make sure that everybody knew what they was in, and you know, the dangers of it. I yield.
When you put it that way, it's hard to know what to say after that. But yeah, I understand that, because when you look at that way, it just looks, wow, it's just incredible. It's so deep.
Yeah, it is. It's we haven't been taught anything. We wasn't taught this at school. We haven't been given this insightful knowledge of money mechanics, of law, of liability, of principles, of morality, of how you should actually think. So what they do is put it on you to learn it, and those that don't, it seems a harsh way, doesn't it? But it's like those that don't know. If you don't know your rights, then you will have no power. So if you don't want any power, then don't know your rights. If you want power, you know your rights, and when you do know them, they'll still fight you tooth and nail. Just means that you'll have a bit more of a battle, that's all, and you've got more of a chance of winning. It's not so deep. We can help. It's not doom and gloom, not by a long shot. The way that I put it, this is why we have Andy Sovereign Smith in the house with me when I talk, because what he does is he'll balance up what I say, and he'll put it into an eloquent Anglo-Saxon simple statement. He'll paraphrase what I say, and he puts it down, and everybody goes, "Ah, yes." So don't worry. It's not that bad.
Yeah, and all the millions who don't realise this system that they're in, or actually, yeah, we're all in. It's just so nasty.
Energy.
There's
Oh, we
nothing
see it
nice
as about
about it.
energy, giving it energy. This is what we see it about as well. The energy that we give it, the attention, what it gets from us.
Yes, I'm not sure sometimes. I don't mean to sound horrible. Lately, I've thought, is it hell here? Are we actually in hell?
Yeah. No, yeah. Purgatory, hell. Hello. Yes. How we greet each other. The word hell is in there. Language. I don't know. It's the world isn't nasty or evil. It's just that there's people in it that are, it's like America's a lovely country, but the indigenous people aren't so fantastic. That's not an insult to America. What I'm saying is the ones that run it and the ones that have modeled it. I mean, the indigenous people are lovely. It's the controlling structure that have ruined it all. And the Indians that live on the reservation now in that land of the home and free, and these invaders that are called pioneers have set up. And it's how we do things. Look at history and how things are done. It's normally battles, and when you have a violent type of history like that, or the battles and sagas and things that we've had, we don't seldom often do anything democratically or peacefully, do we? It's what rockets and weapons and wars and chemicals and underhanded tricks. So that's why, monkey see, monkey do. Literally.
I think there's a lot of influence into it as well. Like HARP, the frequencies that HARP creates might affect you. All your Wi-Fi, your 4G, and all them kind of things, and the food you eat in, it's affecting you to make you feel like you're living in hell. And I think they want you to think that. You know what I mean? I think that's part of propaganda rather than it actually being hell. Like the yin yang, it's a balance and everything's a duality. You've got your opposites and stuff like. So and like life itself, you've got to be happy sometimes and you've got to be down sometimes to appreciate the other. And that's what life's about, isn't it? Going up and down and good times and bad times, and developing in that way and stuff like. But sometimes it does feel like what Karen says, and I kind of think that is because of how we push it, what's on news and what's how we all the propaganda and like I say, it's poisoning you at the same time, like the chemtrails and the food and everything, fluoride or whatever.
Yes, love. Agreed. So true, bro.
Even some of us see all this, but don't see it at all, or want to see it, because even if there comes that point where you've said it to someone, I think if someone said something like that to you, you probably wouldn't like it, but you probably at least go and look it up and then make your mind up, because that's what happens. You have to keep opening up and up because this much bigger you think and it goes on. It's like, but these people don't even get that far.
I'm going to give you something to listen to. You're talking about my kind of sociological engineering now. When do we get sociologically engineered, like the vibrational changes that they instituted before the wars in the you know, about the so not solfeggio, the Hertzian scale was changed with the frequency to the solfeggio scale. The do re mi so fa la ti do was changed. Do you know about that? It was a vibrational shift in frequency, musical frequency, from the British Board of Musical Classification. It came from Eastern Germany in the
Yeah, is this like the
1940s.
Second World War? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're bang on that, Lev, because that's why they did that, because they know. Yeah, we have a resonant frequency. Every object has a resonant frequency. That's how you can blast cancer out quick. You know that ultrasound scanner that you get when you're pregnant and they have a little look and show you your baby? That
Yeah.
cannot be sold anywhere with a dial on it that allows that it's tuned into a range of radio waves, that scanner head. Yeah, well, if you have that same machine but you put a dial on it to change that scanner head frequency, what you've got is the ability to make sonic waves come out of an electronic head as safely, so you don't get, you know, any harm. When you modulate the frequency, I think it's Hertzian again, frequency, and you make the tones, there is a tone assigned to cancer, and it will shatter it. And in the 1940s, or around about again the 50s, they made it. Somebody, I can't remember all the names. You know, you can find out for yourself if you research. Somebody made a device and he was curing cancer by using ultrasonic sound frequency, and he destroyed something like 4,000 cancer patients' tumors that had all been given death row ways to live, and that was using the vibrational frequency. And he found the resonant one and just started shattering them all. And I was like, get in, lad. And then they've just developed that one just for the baby scanning, and it doesn't have a dial on it to change the RF frequency of which it emits, like a sonar, if you like, to get the picture, and use the radio to develop the picture. So you'd use that same process. You find the frequency of everything, and you can, you know, you get in there and sort it out. I'm a wealth of crazy knowledge. I'm sorry, Krista.
That's okay. Knowledge. I bet your heart, your brain is just it's almost like being overloaded, isn't it, with information?
I have an interest in a lot of areas, you know, a lot of scientific, technological, law, natural law, sociological. Yeah, it is on overload, but I have a capacity for it. So rather than watching TV and playing on Xboxes and, you know, having any capacity for that, I'd like a capacity for helping humanity. Royal Raymond Rife, Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, I do believe it was. There we go. Someone in your chat room's Mr. Vice. Fist bumps to Mr. Vice. Yeah, that's who it was. Made that machine. And before you go on, I've just posted a video link into the room of Chasing Status. It says Indiglow, and it's got a watch underneath it right at the bottom now. There's a band, a group in England, guys, and they're called Chase and Status, and they have a song called Blind Faith. I don't know if you can hear my laptop, or if I'll put the link in so your viewers can go on. Let me just turn it up. Can you hear that? No. Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Right. Do you recognise that? That Leon Bailey Chasing Status tune? Chasing status. We are, with the birth certificate and the legal system, you're chasing your status. You have got an incorrect status. So what we are is chasing a status and chasing an incorrect status. And in this track, because I used to DJ for some time, and when I DJ'd, I used to play the music to the venue, you know, participants and club, you know, nightclubbers, that I think would educate them as they had a nice time. They'd get music that had subconscious or conscious messages in it. So I'd be wary of playing music that had aggressive lyrics, swear words, just rubbish music. And the lyrics of this: I am the man with the heavy heart, and I dare not turn the pages. Riding with automatic self-destruction is a blind faith. Blind faith, a cruel waste, one bitter taste, and so I know this sweet sensation. And it says later in it about redemption and stuff and dancing with the devil, and the man's mind is on overtime. Well, this song speaks out to me, Sister Karen, because yes, man's mind is on overtime, but it's not unreasonable overtime. It's a manageable amount of overtime, you know, and my mind's in a good place. But these tunes that you hear, Fatboy Slim, I said it on the chat last night, you know, he did a good one. He's come out and said they know what is what, but they don't know what is what. They just strut what the, you know, it's all there, and it puts it out there, and they laugh at you, you know, sometimes. I'm sure they are. You get me?
That's right. Yeah, it's been circling around my head as well as that song.
Really? Makes me laugh
like,
as a DJ and as a man, you know. Go on, Len.
Like Zombination as well. That's a similar kind of theme in a way. It's like suggesting everybody's asleep, and yeah, I mean, we're just dancing away to it. No one cares.
True. Bang on. Yeah. It's
And that's
insane.
people's action when you tell them the truth.
Yeah, but there was like the older bands that have passed the jam, you know what I mean? Eton Rifle and the tunes that they did there, and the punk bands that there was the Sid Vicious, the Sex Pistols, the Doors, Brick in a Wall. All in all, they knew it, you know what I mean? And they talked about the establishment, but what happened? So they get promoted and they get glorified and they get down here and there and they meet the Queen, and all of a sudden everything's hunky dory. You know, it's just interesting for me. Interesting, guys.
So is that the trick? If we get the opportunity to meet the Queen, we turn it down.
Well,
We're all right then.
No. I don't recognise that lady. So the Queen is fiction. I know Elizabeth's there, and the Queen is the monarchy in title, but that's a title that lady claims, isn't it? But it's just too it's too fraught with deception, and it's too much gone off. There's too much blood been spilt, you know. Over you look at the history, 1066, Doomsday, things like that. The Arbitrator Act and the acts of things that have happened in Winston stuck on a £5 note, as Andy Sovereign Smith said the other night to Steve McRae. I have nothing to give but blood, sweat, toil, and tears. Does it not say that on a £5 note with where Winston Churchill is? Well, that's lovely, that, isn't it? Insane. Thanks for that. It's a nice thing to put on and promissory note. If you made money, no. If I made money, it looked like this one here. Look, you see my laptop screen, how colourful that is. If I made notes, it'd all be crazy like that colour.
Blood, tile, and sweat. And that's
Anyway, what we've already got is crazy. Sorry, Lev. Go for it, Lev. Where's he gone?
Rose.
You keep breaking up. It might be me.
No, it's Lev.
Hello? Can you hear me?
That's it.
Yeah.
You're back now. Go for it, Lev.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear anybody.
No, you were saying.
Oh yeah, blood, tile, and sweat, all for a £5. You know what I mean? It's not
Cheap that, woof. Yeah. I'm just looking at your comments, looking at it in the room here.
Yeah. Do you ever think that we've actually ever had this, what we want, this sort of complete peace and happiness and togetherness and openness and change and truth? And
Oh yeah, definitely.
do you think we've ever had?
Yeah, we got that. It's just it's how you see it. It's what environment you put yourselves in. If you put yourselves in a negative environment, and you know, some people can't help putting themselves where they are, but there's a lot you can do for yourself. A massive amount, how you think, what you inwardly project. But if you've got no money and you're living in a high rise and you're on benefits and your neighborhood's a bit groggy and you're not in where you should be, I've been in places where I don't like to recollect being, but on, on council estates and unemployed and in various situations. I'm 40 on the 9th of May. So, I've had a few years under my belt now, and I'm where I'm here now, but I didn't ever think I would be here now doing what I'm doing. I'm grateful to be at the age I'm at and at the health I'm at, and with, the family that I've got immediately now here, and my family in the health they're in. But I thought I'd be miles away from where I am now, and it's just what environment you put yourself in. So I've struggled. Life isn't easy. Your older ones always say, and I can't believe I'm classed as an older one now. That in itself is a milestone, Lev. I tell you, it kills you.
37.
It's like it cracks. It gets you. You're climbing up there, and you see, I didn't say that to you because I don't think you're older, sister. Good.
I'm older, yeah, but it's okay. It's just
I'm good
another
like that with my
day.
politics. Yeah, and I've been to the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and that's the best thing ever. I can go now, pass away, happy man, because I've done some things that I never thought I would ever do. Looking at stuff from YouTube to actually doing it, and not just finding something out, pursuing a life's dream, going abroad and DJing to crowds. I thought that was my dream, but it actually wasn't. When I got there and did it, and I was after my 3rd month, I thought, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's not funny to drink every day in the sun and DJ and all this loud music and people asking you for music all the time. It's actually a nightmare. I want to be left alone, and I've got all this noise, and by the time you wake up and you want to sunbathe, everywhere's gone because you drink and get drunk and can't get up early. And when you do get out, it's red hot and it's burning and you're a little bit hungover. And after 3 months, I had to change my ways. I was like, I'm here for another, 4 months at least, and I'm ready to go home. So you can travel about and you can enjoy the world. You can pursue your dreams and you can pursue happiness. It is there for you. It's how you see yourself in all of this construct. So if you let it worry you and you're quite anxious and you're quite a negative person, then you will get eaten up by this construct. If you are a positive brother or sister, not person, you shouldn't say that, but a positive individual soul, and you don't let anything get you down, and life can throw whatever it wants at you, and for some reason, we all know somebody like this. It sometimes is annoying when they're so happy all the time, and you're like, why is it with you? It's not normal, but you've got to adopt that, and you can change your outlook to some extent for my development and research, and that's going into what Dave Murphy had been chatting about recently as well, about perspectives and reality and what you see and how you see it and what is there. And if it's the Buddhists, you create your own reality. You can manifest. I've seen it. I've manifested. I've used the law of attraction and the power of intent. So then you look on a subatomic level and an atomic level and a quantum level. And then when you look at particles, photons, electrons, and you go deeper again, if you chase it, you will find it and you will get answers. But I can't give you the answers to what you desires and your wishes. But what I can give you is hope and a sense of go on your own discovery and your own sense of learning and empowerment. And once you go on that and you hear somebody say, what do you mean empowerment? What do you mean quantum? I'm not a Harvard graduate. I've not got a degree. Neither have I. YouTube videos that I've watched and books that I've read and some documents that I've read, I've no chance of understanding it, but I take from it what I can. And I think, all right, yeah, principle, I see what he's talking about. No idea about hadron colliders and particle acceleration and what they do and how it affects the building blocks of life. But I've looked at it and I've looked at other talkers, and I don't look at him from the BBC. He really does my head in, that man. Smiley man. Oh, tell you, he couldn't be. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, please, no. He's as bad as Ike and Jones and Ventura. You got to watch what you're doing, Famalan. You need to know the juicy, good gold nuggets and where to go. Look at a guy called Hutchinson, the Hutchinson effect, Nikola Tesla's inventions. And it's just fantastic. And another one, Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. Yeah, look at him and see what you find about him, and then look at the world you live in, and it's like, it isn't as it seems. You believe how it is as you're told, then you believe that. But if you go out and find it's different, the world changes form and shape before your eyes, and it acts differently for you, is how I've found it.
Hey, Patricia's managed to get back on. Patricia.
Hello,
She's
Patricia.
having a bit of internet problems.
Evening, sister.
Yeah,
Hi.
I don't. Hello, darling. I don't know what to say after what you've said, because, like, yeah, some of you people, sorry, David, are really clever people. Because, well, I don't know this stuff, but to remember all that all the time.
Oh, that's why I'm here. I'm here to. You ask me questions. I'm like, you remember the computer from Star Trek? Computer, where is computer? Tell me now. It's just remember Red Dwarf, Holly on Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Just that. I've just got one of them types of a brain. I was designed to remember. Look, DJs, right? When you're a DJ, someone says, "Oh, have you got that song?" You know, and it goes wop wop bom bom wop wop, and you're like, "You what?" And the music's playing, and you've had a few bevies, and you're like, "Say that again." Oh, and they do it again, and you know that tune, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and they go off, and you find that tune, and millions of, well, thousands of MP3s, and you put it on, you call them back, you go, "Here, come back," and you go, "Is that it?" And they listen, and they go, "Yeah, that's it." And over the years of going through thousands and thousands of MP3s, records, remixes, you have that. Like anybody that collects, this is a bit of a clue. And if you collect anything, you've got one of them brains to archive, catalogue, put, reference, things like that. Whatever hobby you've got. If you've got a hobby like football, then you remember football teams, football players, how many scores, how many strikes. And you see, you've got the capacity. It's just that you don't apply it in the relevant areas. So what I worked out is learning law is hard as nails, like Chinese arithmetic hard, but what we use isn't. So we don't need to know their stuff. You just learn our stuff first, and then you learn how they attach to us. And if you've got a structure or a system from a previous hobby, you can often find you can utilize that into the next one that you go into, and it's just stuff like that. It's just, yeah, it takes years obviously of research and digging out, but that's my choice, and that's what I do. And I've made notes, and I've had millions. My house has been covered in scraps of paper, you know, but that's just it. And when you write it down with your actual autonomy, and the autonomous man writes something down, which is something we're good at typing, and we're good at texting, we're good at emailing. When would you actually handwritten something of substance? Think about it, you know, we don't. So when you do that and you're referencing it, then you're writing it down, it sticks in here. And because I've got a group and I get asked questions quite a lot, and I've got probably 7 platforms that I interact on, then they're all kind of different but connected. So it's use it or lose it. So the game there is, as the brain game on the Nintendo DS taught you, you can re-strengthen your brain and keep it at a level, or even improve it. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Well, I'm listening to you. Well, I have worked some of it out. I do understand all that. In fact, listening to
everyone's
people,
got it. We've all got the power. We've all got the capacity. It's just applying it and knowing how to, and finding your own technique, finding what works for you.
Yeah, and when you, oh, go on, Liv.
Because it,
Go on, Liv.
yeah, I agree with writing things down as well, for like reinforce it, like putting the impression in your mind, doing it physically as well. Like it's much more expressive type. It means more, so it's much more connected, and yeah.
As a manager at work, when I've worked in warehousing, and these guys are using MHE, which is mechanically, operated equipment, and they've got 2-ton fork trucks going about, and employees are walking around. You need to safeguard them, and you need to make sure that they're okay. And so you train them, don't you? And what we do when we train the brain, the government know this, MK Ultra know this, all of the Cold War, this is where it come from. This come from the Cold War, basically, and such things before that. MK Ultra, Tavistock, keywords there that I'm aware of. And when you give the human the guinea pig's going mad. When you give a human a task to learn, When the humans repeated it after, say, 30 times, it's in your subconscious. So who's driven home in an iron horse? I'm loving that word at the minute, iron horse, vehicle, car, but the private version is iron horse. So you've travelled in your iron horse in your private capacity as a sovereign, self-governing, individual spirit, and you've got home. And you don't realise how you've got home. So how have you got home? They say your subconscious brings you home. So when you learn to drive, you are going to get some one day. When you learn to drive, you are training your subconscious to learn to drive, because you are physically there and you are driving, but it takes you a bit to get the knack, to get the technique. Some of us get it quite quick, some of us don't. You know about drama, going to all the driving dramas, but then once you've got that technique, what you've done, you haven't learned to drive. And this has been proven. This is what I'm saying. It's a subconscious. So how we currently understand everything, as I said at the beginning of the hangout, it isn't as we see it, and we haven't been told that for a reason, because if we knew how it was, we'd be the master of our own domain. We'd be at the temple every day, getting it cleaned and sorting it out and controlling and manifesting, and these lot, they'd be running scared. They'd be like, oh, they're out again, they're doing the whatever, and we wouldn't need them, but because we need the nanny state and we can't get off the bitty, and we all need a bit of milk now and again because we can't go out and fend for ourselves, then this is it. But we can, and we could, and over time, my domain, oh God, Lord, I'm building it up here, aren't I? Your domain, that will be, because it's not mine, it is mine now, but when it's in the trust, it'll be everybody's. That will be served as an educational learning platform for law primarily, but then what stems off that is what Alan Watts and Napoleon Hill talk about with regards to the principles of life. So that's how we look at it. You've got to change your outlook sometimes, and your capabilities, what you think you're capable of, I suppose, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we do push us into we're not capable of anything, are we? You know what I mean? You have to be a really intelligent to become a scientist.
Yeah.
And as an adult now, I kind of believe that I was intelligent enough. I just didn't believe in myself, and that's how I was conditioned, So
yeah.
So yeah, it's not my fault really. I kind of think that everybody's that kind of level. I kind of consider myself a normal person, and I consider myself just as intelligent as anyone else, because we're all pretty much the same and stuff like. There's a little bit of difference. You get the odd person which is a bit more intelligent, and other person that may be less intelligent, but we might have an advantage in a different area also, like the physical fitness, or I don't know, or maybe it might be even compassion, because that's different to intelligence and knowledge and stuff like.
There are my website designer. He's quite a methodical thinker as well, and he said to me, David, there are more than one type of IQ, and I don't know what they are now, but there's like an IQ, a PQ, an RQ, and I'm paraphrasing it, but I'm sure that's what he said, something Q, or two different letters, but there is an IQ. And that's to do with your general intelligence, your cognitive compulsion of general everyday whatevers. And it's not much of a gauge really, but it is and it isn't. So you have the Mensa IQ grade for intelligence, but there's more, there's a lot more intelligence. You may have someone that's clever at music, someone that's clever at building, someone that's clever at maths, someone that's clever at, spiritual. So, you have an intelligence in the many areas, and we only tested in one, you see. But if we did do what you've said, and if everybody had some confidence, and it'd be different. It'd be a lot different, and that's what we promote within. So you have the confidence to know, as we say, who you are and what are your rights, and that's fundamentally where we start. Yeah, promote you and encourage.
It's like they describe the like the politicians and all these people at the top to be like narcissist type personalities and stuff. And I kind of think there's something to watch out for, because it's like they said that it's like 1 in 9 people's like psychopath. So that's quite common. Is that there's a lot of people I've met which I kind of think, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Because no, yeah, because then people, they're really nice to you and everything, and you'll never guess they're probably the most nicest person you'll ever know. And then when you find out, you're like, you know, it can't be true, and you're like, yeah, it turns out that, and you're like, but they were the nicest person ever, and you're like, exactly, and you're like, whoa, you just can't tell. Not on about government there, officials. I'm on about in private lives as well, like, you know.
Yeah. It's understanding the nature of people in that kind of sense and stuff. Like, I've broken off. I can't remember what what you were saying about
Narcissists. You're on about narcissists and the government and the people in power and that and the way to be. And I'm like, yeah, these guys, you just don't know. Like Amber Rudd, they've just replaced. Well done. But yeah, another drone has been put into position. One drone stepped out of office to avoid the public claims and crimes. So Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, has answered to the Windrush scandal. I don't know if you're aware of that, with the scandal, the atrocities that they're doing to those poor, English folk, because they are English. They came over on a British passport, and they did some working down in the mines. And it turns out now they destroyed the papers in 2012. Labour Party, that was Jeremy Corbyn's gang, and destroyed these papers. And these guys have got no evidence of who they are, and they're getting shipped out. And she's turned around and said the other day, Amber Rudd, bless her, I'm aware of blah blah blah. I'm not going to quote it all and get boring. And they've found out she did know. She said, I didn't know about this. And she signed a document a few months back, or last year, November, December, and she signed something. She signed it and signed off, which was negative action. And she's recently says, no, I know nothing about that. We wouldn't tolerate that. Of course not. And then some smart ass has gone, isn't this your signature? You signed this off, didn't you, Amber? And she's like, oh dear, yes, I don't know. I might have forgotten. So she's lied. Well, she's lied to the public. She's lied to the government. She's lied in a fish. That's serious. If you lie on your benefit claim or your housing thing or your driving, they throw the book at you. You lie to an officer that's out there trying to ticket you from the Crown establishment. He will throw the book at you legally if you tell him one false thing about the driver, the vehicle. So you see how the hierarchy and the chain of command legally goes to punish one should you fall foul of the law. Well, these guys do it all the time. And so Amber Rudd's fall really foul of everybody at a massive level. Yeah. So what have they done? They got rid of her and she stepped out of office, just as I mentioned with Grenfell, when that scandal hits, before the criminal charges hit them, they step out of office. So what we're masters of doing is teaching you how the system works and what's going on. So that poor bloke that they've put in as the Home Secretary, he's going to get some stick. Do you know why? Because he's not because he's this, but because he's a non-British national. When I say that, I mean he's probably born here, but his lineage is not Anglo-Saxon white. He's got brown skin, and he's in charge of that position and office. So he's going to get a lot of flack, bless him. They've done that on purpose, I see. But I just wanted to get that in there while I remember it. And with you going on about evil, what was the word? Narcissistic guys that are in control of our fate, destiny, legal affairs, setup and estates, possibly property. And you look at hospitals and schools, the teachers and what goes off there. So you're right, yeah. And they get caught out, and it's because we're going to take them and put them in the stocks and off with their head and all this lot. We can't do that because they stepped out of office. So you see, the system protects itself, and it protects itself well. We do not. And that's where we step in to say, it's your wings, a shield, a steel, put that up a bit until you learn what you're doing. And then when you learn what you're doing, yeah.
You mean the bit where they're in a position and then suddenly they get moved on? So they just get moved on somewhere else.
Step out of office is what it's called.
Yeah.
Go on.
And then the whoever's left behind says, well, that wasn't us, that was them.
Yeah. And they've gone, yeah, that's it. They're out of office, so they now can't be touched legally for that. And we see it. So they are to do that stuff, to say no, to starve a little boy of oxygen when you're in a hospital and there's oxygen behind a little boy's bed, and to charge a dad to say that if you touch your I haven't seen this. These are rumours, by the way, unsubstantiated rumours, but I've been told on very good authority that orders were given you know, and signed and stuff. So I'm like, you can't do that. When you guys, next time you get offered anything to sign anything, they're asking you to sign something. It's because they don't trust you. It's because they want something, an indemnification. So whenever you sign for something, you need to look at signing without liability, or signing with all rights reserved, or signing under duress, because that's what you can do. Your signature is not your signature, and I can't get my birth certificate out, my person's birth certificate out now, but that's whose it is. And as soon as you learn these quick little bits that we teach you, brothers and sisters, if anybody makes, yeah, go on.
Something.
Yeah.
All right. My memory of when my son, this is quite a few years ago, what is it? Early 90s, I suppose. He was 84. Yes, it's 1988. I'm sure the paper said if anything goes wrong, we're not to blame. When you're signing that thing about having operations, you're signing that if anything goes wrong, it's nothing to do with them.
Right.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
You're already signing when you sign the bit you say you're agreeing to have the operation.
Oh yes. Yeah, liability and that. Yeah, there's a high chance you might die, or you might end up having septic fever for the rest of your life, but we're not sure. But would you just mind signing this? Yeah. Liability clauses and that.
We're not liable.
You can't sue us.
Anything
Yeah.
goes wrong, not our fault.
Sorry, let me just move that. You keep breaking up a bit, so I'm turning my video off to see if that improves the signal. All right.
Sorry. You got the gist of that, though, didn't you? That you're just. I think every time you sign a piece of paper, I remember myself. I was doing tickets for things, and I had terms and conditions on the back, and all that is everything you're not for is the terms and conditions.
Yeah. Well, know that the signature's not yours, sister, brothers. The signature belongs to somebody else. You have an autograph, okay? So let's go for, you're at some red carpet event and you see I don't know why I use Clark Kent and Superman. I can't really say why. It just comes to my mind, so it's there. So you see Christopher Reeves, and it shows my age, doesn't it, really, I suppose. You see Christopher Reeves and you want his autograph, and you get his autograph, but he doesn't give you Christopher Reeves. He signs it, what? Superman. So you've got the body in the flesh, and he's signed his title, because when he was an actor as Christopher Reeves, he claimed the title, and the title was what? Superman. Well, Clark Kent, and Clark Kent turns into Superman. The film's called Superman, but he actually plays the actor Clark Kent. So you got Christopher Reeves, the man, the private man, sovereign capacity, all that business. He's got a what? He has an agent, boys and girls. Secret agent, man. No, just an agent. So that agent finds work for Christopher Reeves. He rings him up, says, "Nah, then, Lado's making a film. He's thinking you're the man for it. Let's go down." And he gets down, he gets a contract. So there you go. Man's made a contract with another man, but he's used an agent, and he's got a title. He claims that title and he plays the part. At the end of the film, you see the title credits. And who's claimed what title? There he is, number one, Christopher Reeves. He played Clark Kent. That was his title, and Superman, you get it. So when you go to the red carpet and you say, "Oh, nice, Christopher Reeves, give us your signature." No, you don't, do you? You say, "Give us your autographs," or whoever it is. Our kid would be going up to Ariana Grande, I believe, getting those kind of autographs. But the reason it's an autograph is because it's not a fiction. It's the one that's, the living body. But I suppose you could also argue that on the end of a letter, you just sign in K P or whatever it would be, or me signing DG is not me. It's the estate. You see, I'm just signing standard. But if you sign and you separate and you put some letters, or you put some words that to the effect of authorized agent and representative in office, no title claimed, no liability, so lots you can do, or signed under duress, all rights reserved, none, all rights reserved, all wavered, and the stuff. There's lots you can do, boys and girls, but that signature is, yeah, that's the key. If you sign that, You need to know that because you're signing it, you're agreeing. And if you're agreeing, you might be giving somebody power. If you're giving somebody power and consent, you need to know who and what. And it's not often easy to find that out, though. That's the hard part.
Mm.
I have a friend in
You don't
Sheffield.
realise
He won't claim benefits because it's against his religion. He knows about the signature, and he says, "Dave, if I could go there and say, look, here's my person's national insurance number. I'm on my arse. I need some money. I've paid in up to £150,000 into this national insurance fund. How's about, because I'm on my arse, you give me some without tricking me and making me go for appointments and fill in a computer log to say that I've been looking for the work 42 hours a week just to get £80 a week." It's like, guys, sometimes the systems, you think it's fair, the benefit system, who knows anybody that's used that and had a good time on it and got well wealthy and rich? Sorry, but wow, it's a joke. It is, isn't it?
No, it is quite cruel, I think.
Nasty.
The dole
Nasty.
system is
People commit suicide over it. I've been in touch with Steve Barclay. Oh, I better be careful. I can say it. I've been in touch with Steve Barclay's ministerial office today. I've been speaking to his office, his public office, that is. It's not private. Anyone can go and ring a minister up. Steve Barclay, Barclay. Have a look what he does. And I would have got to chat. I rang me today at 6 p.m. I've been after him for 3 weeks. I've been hounding the man. I'd like someone in the chat room to tell me what Steve Barclay does, who's working currently under Theresa May's forces in a particular position in government. And I'm going to get that man to do some work for me. So I got a beneficiary that's in trouble with the NHS, and I pointed it out to this lad. And he's a trustee. He's one of the highest trustees. He's also a principal. This is how he gets stuff sorted. But it shouldn't have to come to this. But yeah. We will show you what we can do. We're going to have a little switchboard army going soon for you.
Everything's changing, isn't it?
Yeah, customers. You're a customer. That's what you are.
There's a lot more I've noticed. I keep subscribing to new ones every day. You know what I mean? Lots every day, kind of thing. Sometimes, which means a lot of people. There's a lot of
I'm messing with my Wi-Fi tonight, guys. It really is like cutting in and out. Signal's weak.
Mine's not been.
Am I cutting out to you guys? Am I keeping a solid signal? Oh, wow.
You back though. I had to cut out for a moment there though.
I just realised I'm on 4G and not Wi-Fi. It's my silly fault.
Alright. I've heard you fine foot rest at night anyway. You've been fine.
See, we all have silly moments. Should be vastly improved now.
Sorry about that. That's the second time I've been thrown off.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm having issues as well, but I just thought it was because I was on my 4G and not the Wi-Fi.
No, the whole thing just completely freezes all of a sudden. They can see the chat going, but the Hangout just completely freezes, and then it says error.
I have a question. Last night on my Hangout, Karen, I had to manually control all the cameras because it stopped. It just kept staying on one person. One panel member. What do you do in that situation? Is there a button you can press to set it back to auto? Because for 4 hours, 22 minutes, well, 4 hours, so after 20 minutes, it froze on one guy. And I had to manually adjust every camera for 4 hours, and it was immensely annoying.
No, you have to chase it yourself. I've never worked that one out. It's a bit annoying. People don't realise, it's really hard work because it's already going a bit slow, and then you've got to move it around manually, and you're trying to have a conversation and so forth. It is a bit hard. I haven't found a way around it.
Leave it with me. Leave it with me. And
Well, no matter how you turn it off, it doesn't just flow with the hangout as people are talking. It just stays. Every time you take it off, it goes back to that person. Yeah?
Yeah. 4 hours though, sister.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Anyway, sorry, I digressed there a little bit, but because you said about technicalities and getting kicked off.
That's okay, because you wanted a. I don't know why that happens sometimes.
You know what I mean? I just thought while we're there, I just mentioned that because it was only yesterday and I nearly cried. I was looking on my laptop, realised someone had been speaking for quite some time and the wrong head was showing. I was like, oh dear, amateur.
Yeah, I think it's stuck on. I know. Okay, we're moving around a bit, but yeah, I've done that. Like, you think, how long has it been stuck? It's really hard work when that happens, and it just does it sometimes. It's really annoying. It's really hard work because when you've actually just managed to get the box over and to that, someone else starts talking, you think, "Oh my goodness!" And then you've also got to keep in the conversation, so it's really hard work. You know, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I do now. Thank you for training me.
Well, I don't know what to do because I just have to follow the hangout.
The Padawan has much to learn. In this area, I'm highly inept, you see. It's not, you can profess to be quite intelligent in some areas, but in other areas, you're immensely retarded in some ways, like with me and the Google Hangouts and videos and streaming. I do now, but I didn't. Some things you just have to learn, like building a website. Never done that before in my life, never gone on a course, never gone to university, but we get there, we find people that can help, your team and family get you through it.
Yeah.
Do it together.
Yeah, maybe because it's this deep, you can see why people maybe decide that they'd rather live some fantasy then.
You mean like go out at the weekend and get drunk and sniff cocaine and have wild sex and not think about any of the repercussions because you've got work again on Monday and the weekend's too short? Like Train Spotting. Remember the beginning of that? Get out and escape. You hate your job. You don't like your job. You ain't got enough money. Your missus gets on your back. Your husband gets on your back, whatever. You know what I mean? And we just go out. We drink too much. We fall in front of taxis, lose everything, fight our best mates. And then Monday morning comes, we're all friends again. Sorry about that. See you next weekend. It's mental. Because we're not happy.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe not for everyone, but maybe when you're a teenager, it's not like it is now. Because I think as a teenager, you're still like, tomorrow is another, like, a world, another episode, it's the whole thing starts all over again. But when you get older and you see it like, wait, well, I don't know, for me, because I'm older, I don't know, seeing all this, it's, yeah, it's just so crazy.
You see, they want you to have sex and get drunk when you're a kid, because if you have sex and get drunk and have a baby, then you'll have to get a job. And if you get a job, you won't go to uni. If you don't go to uni, you'll be doing all these mediocre jobs that, the ones that go to uni are from the middle class, sensible families, and their dads and mums make sure they know where they are and they don't get to have sex and get drunk. And so they don't have babies at 17 or 15 or 14 now. So then when Edward goes to school and he hasn't got any children, he stands a very good chance of getting a high-ranking job in a respectable area on a moderate wage, because his environment was established and secure, whereas some others' environments aren't so established and secure, and they have 3 betting shops on the estate. Judge how poor your estate is or your manor by how many betting shops you've got. If you've got 1, you're not doing so bad. If you've got 2, you need to start thinking about where you live. If you've got 3 or 4, you need to get the hell out of there. I'm telling you now. And it's the place we live, I see it. We all see it with different eyes, though. You see it with your eyes, I see it with mine, and we get together and have a chat and we realise.
That's why in most schools they don't want you to believe that you've got the capability to be a scientist or such things. So then when you leave school, you're happy to work in a warehouse.
Oi, I did that. 12 years. We're all right. It was easy life. No offence, Lev. You're right,
No,
yeah.
no,
That wasn't
you know,
the woman at Poundland who got given a Poundland job who went to uni and says, I'm not doing that. Do you remember? She kicked off, didn't she? And she got trained well and she ended up in Poundland and she was like, I've been trained, I've been to uni. What do you mean I've got to go? Oh, I'm qualified and I'm doing this. Yep, yes you are. But I've got a brain. Yeah, well, you still got to do that. And the system told her and she says to no to the system and she actually won. Stephen Lawrence's mum, I know this is off again, not working and being kept low, but Stephen Lawrence's mum lost property. The police messed it up and she publicised it. And now she's a lady. Do you know what the system's done? They've gone, do you know what? We tried to defeat you. We tried to put you down. We messed up with your son's murder and we made a complete public hash of it. But you are a woman of steel and you've identified all of the engrossing justice in the Metropolitan Borough Police's actions and within the current corrupt systems of the Crown prosecution and blah, blah, blah. And she's done it that long and she's educated herself and she's brought them to justice. And she took that lady off them. I was like, why would you accept that title? That title is, yeah, it's lady title, it's great, but they've given it you and they, but respect to her. She educated herself, Lev, and look where she got. She took them down. She went, look, that's not right. You've made mistakes. My son's dead. That didn't happen and that didn't happen. And now you've made it look like this. What are you doing? Well, he's only a black teenager. He only suffered for a little bit. It's okay. The establishment thought, little did they know. What happened, didn't it? And now she's made history. Through education, she made justice and history. So you can do it. Look at that, what triumphs we make, when we put our minds to it, when we have the dedication, when we have the focus, when the nation's focused on a 2-year-old struggling for oxygen in a military ward and the parents are wondering why. Yeah, that's the stuff that makes it sit up.
I was asking you, why is there, as they've got us in the death certificate and all that, why is the other side in there as well then? The truth. Why is the truth in there as well?
I'm not sure about that.
Even if they sell you the lie. Well, they sell you the lie, but the truth's in there. It's always hidden in plain sight, isn't it?
I've never seen one death certificate and I've never talked about it or seen one, laid eye on one, or even broached the subject. So something I know nothing about, to be fair. There you go.
But you know that bit about that's what the law is and everything like that.
I don't know.
Law.
I don't know. What? Say again. What's the question, or what's the point?
Oh, I don't know. I've got lost now. Thinking about. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter. I was just a bit concerned that I've been chucked off twice today.
Check your system, check all your memories and stuff like that. Your system, maybe you'd need to defrag. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, it may be a while since you've had a defrag, and it could be corruption, just small things in internal files. It's not always necessary to, it could be something wrong then. It keeps dropping or, conflicting somewhere.
It doesn't, you do that. It's on a set every week, the computer.
I got you.
I'll set it up.
I got you.
Yeah. Anyway, so like you, what's it like now that you're not working? They are working in a different way.
I do like 12, 14-hour days. It's ridiculous. I love it too much, and I get carried away with it. Poor Anne-Marie, she's very good. I said to her initially, I need to show and be there and support and put the effort in and answer messages, be responsive, hold seminars, be active, show my face, promote the website, and do everything that needs to be doing along with the admins and Andy and so yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. It's one of them, you get out of it what you put in, don't you, sister? So I'm immensely excited, and I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm not the richest man in the world because it's a non-for-profit. I need to inject money into the trust and grow the trust so we can help others that are in need. So here's a touching story that will make the world look nice, and it will probably put a little smirk or a smile on your hearts at least. I went on YouTube. They don't always come to Facebook, and they haven't come to the .com yet. So I get calls from the phone number that I've promoted on spowspro.com, and this gentleman rings me now and again, and he's not far away from me, and he's been dying to meet me. And I don't have any ego at all. I'm just David of the household family of, Jeremy Eater. That's it. I'm not looking for David Icke selling out Wembley Stadium at 60 quid a ticket on X amount of thousand seats and taking all that money every time. And that's not me. I'm quite humble. So this guy, anyway, he knows I'm busy, and he said, "Please, will you just come round and look at my statements and my N2444 form and these court files and that he wanted checking." So I eventually met him after a year of correspondence on the telephone and text messages and random phone calls, of which I love, by the way. If you want to give me a random phone call, that number's on the website for a reason, for you to call it and have a random chat, because as you can see, man loves to chat. And I visited him last week and we sorted it all out. And he goes into a secret place in his house, of which I saw where he went. And it was the most bizarrest secret stash place you could ever think of. It was genius, but it was bizarre. And he gets out this sock, and then he gets out this sock, a little like camera case, what used to keep you filming in the old days when the exposure was damaging to the negative. Yeah, them ones. And inside there, he must have had 20 gold sovereigns, bless him. And he puts two in my palm. He passed my palm with gold. And he says, "These are for you, these." And I knew there was some kind of coin. And when I opened my hand, he'd put like 2 coins, 2 sovereigns in my palm, and says, "You're a sovereign, you are, Dave, and you're a good lad, and you restored my faith in humanity." And because I was feeling emotional, I had a little moment there, and I gave him a hug, and his missus was there, and I'm like, "Are you sure about this? This is gold. This is intrinsic value. This is the one thing other than our love and emotion that means, has any kind of tangible value in this crazy world. They're worth, hundreds of pounds." And he says, "There's a 2016 one. Don't worry, kid. I'm not that daft." He goes, "And there's a 1901 Queen Victoria one. You can have the old one. Put the other one into the trust." Wow, hey, look at that. And I've only met him once. He gave me about 500, 600 quid worth of gold, and I only give him a little bit of advice. Could have cried on the spot. It was hard not to. So my life is random. It's rewarding. It's got purpose, and I'm happiest I've ever been. I yield.
Awesome.
Yay, I'm really pleased for you.
It's amazing that.
Yeah, there are some nice people out there.
Amazing, kind, loving, intelligent. It's only a few of us that get depicted as loons and criminals and, whatever. The rest of us, we are as we are. We just don't get a chance. And we're all like, we had a hangout for the first time, Karen. We had a hangout on my channel, and we were testing it all out. As I've said, I was manually controlling for 4 hours. It was a test, trust me, in more ways than one. And I promoted it and said, "I'd like you to email ukfreedomproject@gmail.com, so this can go out to your family as well." That's my Hangout, my Gmail email that I use for Hangouts. And what I pick up requests, you put in the email subject Hangout. I do a search on Hangout, take all them emails, put them on a spreadsheet, and I'll invite you all one by one, time permitting. Talk about subjects, your subject that you'd like to talk about as well in the header. So it'd be Hangout and then the subject you want to talk about, so I can get the guys at a similar chat vein together on one show. And about 6 people didn't come on out of the 10, or it's 8, because they didn't want to come on because they felt adversions, or they felt a little bit apprehensive of coming on because of being judged and making a mistake or saying something wrong, or this kind of stuff. So it does, when you watch these videos and chats, it does, some people make them look remarkably easy, professional and smooth, and it isn't always as easy to emulate that, is it? But you still should have a go. You should have a go. That's the point.
If you say something wrong, you can correct yourself, can't you?
I'm the biggest idiot you'll ever meet. I am really, and I don't mind it.
It's important not to get carried away with your passions and stuff, kind of thing.
Yeah, it is indeed.
It feels worse not to stand up and do something. That's what I feel. I felt I was like, because I've been following it since 2015, like, and been really into it and stuff, and it's been getting to me, you know what I mean? And then I finally spoke to Karen, and she brought me on here, and I don't know, I've just been on all the time really. But
so, if I may, then, Lev, let's talk about the first time that you had a chat online. Then, on how did you feel? Was it here then with Sun and Moon?
Yeah, I think it was after hang out on a Sunday evening. I didn't know what to say at first, you know what I mean? And I started talking, and that's it. It just kind of built from there, you know. It kind of flowed, and that's it. I was on next night, and then night after that, I did a presentation. And then that's it. I've been on pretty much every night, I think.
Part of the furniture.
Yeah. But it gives me a chance to voice my opinion and put that element of change in the world where I know it's from the people, because I know that I'm not like a shill or that kind of thing. I know that I'm myself, kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know, I've got loads to speculate, I've got loads to question, and but I've got a lot to put out as well, you know. It's kind of like there's a spiritual aspect to it all as well, you know. I don't know what it is, and I've never committed to any spiritual faith and stuff, but I do have that spiritual thing and stuff. Like I said, I've done a third eye video. I've told people about that. It's not been many views on it, but Karen put a video up and it kind of had it in there. So
hold up, you've done a video called The Third Eye?
About third eye, yeah. The train meditation, I've called it.
Oh, we'll check it out. What, have you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah. I've only just started putting videos up, but
I'll check it out after. Yeah, carry on.
So yeah, you can actually tell that I'm kind of rough and nervous doing videos or whatever. I sound a little more confident now, I suppose, but
it's on Sun and Moon as well.
I'll check it out.
It's on Lev's, it's on
a
Sun and Moon.
And it's quite effective, you know. It doesn't take long for it to start doing its thing, kind of thing.
Till you get your confidence up, yeah, you get some positive feedback, you get your negative out. You know, when I first started all this, and if you go back to my first video, I'm sat in a car in Hungary about 2 years ago, and I'm talking about the government and the way that we are, and you can see and hear I'm quite embarrassed, to be fair, but it's also a good gauge for me on how to remain composed, controlled, structured, articulate, relevant, and all this stuff that I didn't ever think of when I first went in front of a camera. I just talked, and then you can look brilliant, you can look sincere, and you get what you get on YouTube and over such public platforms, you know, whatever they are, Daily Motion, Vimeo, etc. You get the feedback, and it's real, it's raw, and if you don't protect yourself before, this is advice personally from me to all, not just to you, because you've passed that point now, so you've learned this lesson. But if you do go to put yourself out there, you need to remember you're on a public domain. It's worldwide. It can be copied, shared, downloaded, edited, recorded, you know, morphed, CGI'd, put into anything. You just need to know and be prepared. And if you have got a sensitive, anxious side, then I'd refrain from doing it until you could get proper, you know, protection and stuff. If you go out there with an honest message, you can get shot down, and it's not fair. And when we see that, we come to others' aid, and we police the realms accordingly. You know, it's like we have a sovereign capacity, but it's not sovereign, it's just righteous. We'll call it righteous, we'll call it inherent, that you know what's right and wrong, and if you see something going off, then you'll try and stop it. We don't need to always ring the police or report them. We can do it in our own capacity, and that's what we do wherever we are. And however we may be, like an open mic night, somebody might start getting booed, well, I might start clapping while everybody else starts booing, you know, and saying, it's all right, lad, carry on, stuff like that. You know, it's just, Yeah, it's hard, but it's your own development. What have you gained from it? You've gained confidence, you've gained friends, you've gained knowledge. You see, for that little bit of that fear that you overcome.
Can't stop, can you? Though, really.
Me, I can't. No, to please take over. Chatterbox.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that, but
I know you
it's like
didn't. I know,
driven.
sister. I know you didn't, sister. I'm joking.
A lot of it's quite easy.
Yeah.
In the sorry, go on, Karen.
No, go for it, Lev.
One of the things I found is the fact that anybody watching is either a flat earther or somebody questioning, or somebody who's completely paid shill troll or whatever kind of thing. Then I don't really care about them, and there's only a minority of them. Most of the people are people who are truly questioning. So everybody who's watching is kind of friends, really. You know, we're all one and the same in that kind of sense.
Family.
So, yeah, stepping up that way. If there's no it's not like all your Glober friends and stuff like that kind of thing are going to be watching. But there might be laughing very off at me. But no. I feel more confident that the people who are listening are people that question. So that's more important than anything. And it's quite easy to come on with that kind of premise. I yield the floor.
Well, before you go, before we end again today, Nobleman David, can you put again your links in the chat room so that people can see it again, before we finish?
Yeah, what time would you like to finish? When you finish?
We can go on a little bit longer if you want. We've not been going, well, I've been going about, I don't know, an hour and 3/4.
Yeah, I'm just having a cigarette outside, but I can go in and do that anytime. It's 3ws.splspro.com, and I'll put it in on the link. And if anybody's near a search engine, just out of curiosity, if anybody needs a search engine optimization tip, if you go to the search engine and put in sovereign paralegals, you will find that it takes up a full page. So we are behind with the domain, and we have got, I did send you a message earlier about reference Mr. Thrive Survive. I've asked my technician about extra support and help, and he's privately employed, like doing his own projects and helping me with this, and we're behind. So he said, unfortunately, no, he hasn't got any spare time for Richard, but that doesn't mean to say we can't find him any if he still needs help in the groups that we're in. Is he all right, or does he still need help? Do you know? You've seen him?
Well, no, not this last few weeks. So I can't remember if it was like the beginning of last week or the week before, but he made a video and he was a bit angry, really. He said he'd had enough. He was actually angry, and he said he may not go back on sort of thing, and he's really upset. Not really heard from him since.
He's really upset.
That doesn't
Well,
mean he
what's
hasn't
happened?
gone away from it. Well, just that the way he was being attacked and things. I'm not sure if he had any wrenches in his chat room, and and people were leaving comments all the time when he was going live, and he was watching them, I suppose, when he's live. And then when if probably the things they're saying and interfering, and in his heart he's telling the truth to try and help people, and then he's just thinking he's had enough. And that's what people's about. But like you say, it's not so easy, is it? All those plugins,
they're like the statutory codes that we're learning about in laws. You see, this is what I mean: records, track names, plugins, electronics. You can articulate it. You just got to get in there and just you need a little bit of support and backup. Often you can do it over the telephone, or if we had this already, you see, he's got something there that needs to be made to happen. And like Lev's just been saying, me and Lev just been saying about coming on and the confidence and taking out that little bit of advice I just gave for anybody that maybe contemplating making a channel or ever making a live cast or putting a video online, then You know, these, you know, I've had death threats. I've had idiots ringing up the phone saying all sorts down it, and you know, I've had fallouts and threats on Facebook, and you just get over it. This is the system we're in. You encounter that, but some of us have got broad shoulders, and some of us are a bit empath, you know, and emotional, and get upset quite easily. And I've learned not to. I was
Yeah,
one of them people. I was,
exactly. I
yeah.
did a
Go on.
test, right? I threw something else about it was asking which one did you think you were, and there's more. I can't just sort of remember all of them, but one was astral, one was empath, but the majority of people felt they were empaths on the test.
If you've ever watched a film and or a Hollywood production and you've had a little tear at a film, you'd call that empathic, wouldn't you? Because you are feeling the pain. And I think most of us that watch a film at some point, even if it was a child watching Bambi for old man like me, do you know what I mean? Was like, what? What you show me here, Disney? You shattered all my dreams. I thought life was a happy ending with kings and princesses and kisses, and you know, you get the dream and everything's happy ever after. And here we are watching this. What's happening here? You know, and you know, it's just uh, you learn lessons, don't you? And you learn to protect yourself. And we are all sensitive. We have all got electronic, magnetic. You know, the Earth has got electronic. Tesla's proved that. We've got beyond needing the government to confirm things. So what we have to do is reaffirm it in these social circles that we've got, and pick up and carry fallen brothers, like we tried to do with the family in Liverpool to some extent last week towards the latter part of that saga. And you know, it's what we do. It's what you're here for now. It's what you're doing. You know, and we will show the way. We will make improvements every minute, hour, day. You know.
Yeah, and hopefully just a couple more people wake up every day, if that's what it is, and think.
They're being born woken up. I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm seeing youngsters in, you know, circles that are mixing. It's quite social, and I'm like, that's a clever young one. And I do little tests, like not crazy men's tests and that, but you do just intelligence tests and that, play games, and you're like, okay, see how you do with this one. And yeah, the youth, you know, it's looking promising, but we have hope, don't we? We have, as long as, what did my mate say the other day? As long as you have breath, there is hope. Simple as.
I had a book, and the words were, "If you're still alive, your mission on Earth isn't over."
You are here for a reason, yeah. You're a facilitator like I am. I'm a facilitator. I don't know if Lev's found his place yet, or if he's still deciding, or if he's gonna, you know, come across some kind of what would encounter, you know, affiliation, you know, not partnership, but collaboration with somebody. He'll find his way, you know, whether it be making a documentary or doing his own show or having a channel, or you know, I say that to the guys in my group when they come in and they say, what do? We don't know law. I don't want to comment. I don't want to look like an idiot. And I'm like, just chat, just tell us how you're feeling. How's your thoughts on whatever, on, you know, can't pay, we'll take it away. Bailiffs, debt, money, law, family. You know, what do you want to learn about? What is it you don't know? What are you unsure about? What is it that you're scared of? What is it that bothers you? And then we just work on it from there.
Yeah. It's very deep for a lot of people, though. But it isn't for a lot of other people. But it is for a lot of people.
Well, flat Earth subject's very deep and, you know, controversial to some extent. Your own freedoms and rights are your own, you know, cognitive thoughts and what you believe. And if you're having, you know, whether you're being usurped of your energy or usurped of your intelligence or usurped of it all, we all, you know, have to question why things have been suppressed and, you know, kept from. Whether that be information, laws, rights, freedom, assets, you know, access, everything, all the above. You know, we have a right to know, and we are inquisitive by nature. We don't give up. We're all here trying to find answers and connect and create solidarity and X, Y, and Z. So we are by design this way. You know, we are resistant, we are resilient, we are hopeful, and we carry on, don't we?
Yeah. Last time we spoke to you, you'd really helped and won a case, hadn't you?
Oh, that was awesome. That's I still haven't calmed down from that, believe it or not. It's only this last week that's actually made me have some kind of energy lapse in a way. But yeah, awesome. I've got a beneficiary in the Facebook trust, and he's been encountering claims on his legal person, that be his driver, in a commercial capacity, and he's been answering for that in the correct status, and he didn't submit a statutory declaration and so forth, and he knows who he is. So that makes the game all the more fun to play when you get a beneficiary or a member come up, or a brother or a sister saying, look, I know this, this and this, and I've done this, this and this, but now I might have a court appearance and I'm going to get cross-examined, and I've seen all the TV shows and it looks very scary, and you know, I don't want to get in trouble or lose. I'm innocent and I've represented myself this far. What can we do? And I'm like, oh, I've never done this. And he's like, I know you haven't, but will you come down? And I'm like, well, we might lose. And he's like, I don't care. I want to learn. I'm like, but it might end up costing you points, insurance hike, this, that, the other, court fees. He's like, look, I've got some money aside. I'm confident I'll win. I'm innocent. Will you come down? I've watched your videos and that. He said he made sure he bigged me up and said, you know, this, that, the other. If anybody could have a chance, I think it would be you. Can you come down? And I was like, I will agree to come down on the basis that you do not expect me to win the case and it's just for exploratory trial purposes only. And he went, Dave, I'd just be honoured to come down and just to back me up. I went, let's do it then, brother. We'll do it. I'll come down. We'll have a look. We'll test the water. We'll report back to the family. He went, deal. I understand. That's acceptable. And so we presented at Oxford Magistrates for the claim of a traffic officer saying that there'd been an infraction on the Road Traffic Management Act and that he reported the vehicle in question had gone through a red light. So we cross-examined, in a nutshell, we cross-examined the traffic officer, the prosecution did, and then he got the chance, my friend, the accused, the driver, to cross-examine the officer, and then the officer stepped out of the dock. And then the driver had to step into the dock, but the driver is a 2D fictional entity, and we made that known. And we said this is the authorised representative and agent in office who has the capacity of the driver in the form of a licence. It is in an all-capital name. We are aware of the structure of this, and we are respectful of it, and we are aware that it is instrumentation. So Thomas of the you know, and blah blah blah. I'll be careful with the data, but we've already publicly advertised this, so it's not private. But I'll be restrictful. I nearly said the family, but yeah, the man represented for the driver, and we presented to the magistrates in the correct capacity, which was unbelievable, insane. It was almost like being on acid, some kind of lucid, you know, light daydream on a couple of shrooms in a sunny field, you know, on a summer's day. It was like, what, you know, this is for real. And they went out 5 to 5. They deliberated. They had to call for expert legal advice because of the complex situations that they don't ever get to hear every day from the general public. The general public go in and claim the name and agree to everything and contract and sign without the liability, agree to take up the public full liabilities, and also maybe take representation in and don't defend and the correct status and capacity and argument. So in which case it's always a lose. No matter, even if you think you're going to win, you will lose because you haven't done it properly. You don't play the game. So we took a risk, and they went out at 5 to 5 and they come back at 25 past 5 after taking expert legal advice. And the situation was the claims made by both parties resulted in the magistrates having reasonable doubts. And when a magistrate has reasonable doubts about a claim made, there is no claim, because if they have doubt, they have to strike out the claim. If the claim cannot be proved 100% factual evidence, first-hand knowledge, video evidence, corroborating backups, you know, statements after statement and stuff, there's a principle and a process. So we called upon that, and it actually worked. And so we don't mention any of the judges' names or the court or anything, but it was a trial for Oxford recently, of which we can reference and prove. And you know, he was very happy to say the least, and I was ecstatic and confused, but also in the knowledge that yeah, it's amazing. It's a secret world of which we never knew, but we danced in it well. We went and had a dance with the devil, as he says on Chasing Status. You know, we danced with the devil. We didn't get burnt.
They weren't expecting you, were they?
Yeah, Yeah, it was interesting, very interesting. So,
What is
first-hand knowledge of
why
the
is
court.
what is that? Is that for them then when they want to use the law? That's how they get around it all.
Say again, please. I didn't hear the first part.
Truth. The truth, well, is there hidden in sight, but is that there for when any of these people decide they want to use it to get to the other? You know, they can use it, can't they? It's a bit like everybody saying, you know, is everybody like passing away, or are they really like going off somewhere else and faking their deaths? Don't really want to talk about that very much, but there's all these things like people are saying. It's like anything real.
Yeah, you and I are real. Your audience is real. The viewers are real. The words that are coming out of our mouths and vocalizing and phonetically reaching our ears and vibrating the air and stuff is all real. Yeah, we know. It's just you just got to know that if me and you have a secret code word for cup of tea, and every time I want a cup of tea, I say, go and get me some I don't know, I can't even think. Go and get me some toast. I know it's random, but you say I feel like some toast, and one day somebody hears that in the house, you know, where we are, and they go and get me some toast. I'm like, what do you mean? Why have you got me toast? And they're like, because you just said you wanted some toast, Dave. I'm like, no, toast means tea. Don't you know that round here toast means tea? And they're like, no. Well, it does. So I ask for a cup of tea. Not, you know, I'm not being harsh, but in law, in court, you have a word, and you think you know what that word means, but you're not in that gang. So if you use that word, like, you know, toast, and you want a cup of tea, but you don't know that toast means tea, you're going to go and get toast. And they're going to come back and laugh at you and you go, ah, idiot. He didn't know. Look at him. And they won't tell you, and you won't know what you've done. And they'll just carry on and they'll railroad you. And you'll be like, but how's this happened? I don't understand. Exactly. You don't understand. You're an idiot in the eyes of the law, but you're a sovereign. You know, you're a private, self-governing, if you like, you know, sentient being, and you are entitled to certain rights, and you can demand them politely and correctly and lawfully. But if you don't know how to demand them, you'll never see them. You see, and you're not taught it. So where'd you get it from? And how do you know? That's not just in law. That's to do with your anybody sends you a letter or a notice and there's no signature underneath it, and they're telling you to do something, or they're threatening you with the full force of law or any kind of legal action, and there is no signature, that body of words, then there is no authority or liability, which means it's not worth the paper it's written on. Somebody doesn't, or if somebody autographs a document and the author doesn't autograph it after, you know, autonomously writing it, then the author hasn't given it any authority. Authority, autograph. You see, those are the three key things to a body of words that gives it life, vitality, strength, and you know, any kind of meaning. And if you use thumbprints and sign it with an autograph or a signature, it means different again. So just these basic things, you'd think you'd learn these at school in English, wouldn't you? In type of thing you'd learn in English. When one produces a notice, when one is an adult, this is how you lay it out. A4 is classed as a military graded piece of paper. Be careful with A4, children. You don't want to play around with A4, and you don't want to play around with the courts. They have a separate language. So in English, they'd have taught you about the separate language. They might have taught you Latin if you're lucky, and you went to Harvard, Eton, Oxford, Cambridge. Oh yes, you see the levels of education and how you get put. So because you are not educated, we get put low. See the book, How to Make Friends and Alienate People. Enough said, eh? And also see Chiron Last's film. There's a Chiron Last film. Oh my days, I can't think what it's called now. It's about words and poetry and life, but it's kind of like that film, that what I've just mentioned. But you'll know it when you find it. But yeah, this is why, system brothers. This is why. This is how as well. We can break it down and show it you.
Yeah, and help, and you've helped people, and you'll be helping more people.
And that's because people like Santos and Romley Stewart and Carl Lentz and you know, Steve McRae and to some extent Mark Salon, Get Out of Debt Free, John Harris, we can't forget him. Others that we've picked up on and broadcast in the stations and the channels, and like that Chiron Last, immense. The productions that come out from YouTube, so much better quality than what you'd ever see on terrestrial or Sky or cable TV. You can learn so much. So it's just, if it's there, it's not secret. You can go and find it and get it for yourselves.
Yeah, as long as they deem it okay for us to say it.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. The internet, look at WikiLeaks, look at Edward Snowden, look at what's happened, look at all the exposure, look what comes out. They can't control it all. It's almost like they're testing it. It's almost like we're being let loose and they're just testing it, and they're doing lots of little sub-tests within them tests, and they're testing out, stuff on us by letting us do it. They're testing the systems. How far can we push it? Where can they go? What can they find? All right, they've got there. Look, shut that down, turn that on, spray them there, feed them that, send that. It is monitored. We're not in the secret, but we're not got anything to hide either, have we? Because we're not in the eyes of the law criminal. And when you know who you are and what you can do, and what like Amber Rudd's done is immensely dishonourable. What's happened in Liverpool with the trustees of the hospital is immensely dishonourable. In law, it's acceptable. In ethics and morality of man, it's a heinous crime. So how do you go from a heinous crime, morality wise and ethically wise, to a acceptable act in legal terms? That tells you about the legal there. Just leave it there. You can do something horrendously atrocious to your fellow man, you can use legal jargon and terminology and make it acceptable in a civil or way, some kind of legal way, where in law it's well against man to do that, so that's the system you're in. And when you recognize that and you know how to controls and dances around, then you've won the battle. Well, there's more to it. There's claims and stuff. It's not that easy, but claims of rights and notices and that, but that's down the line. It's how far you want to go. Once you get on it, you'll either know it's for you or you'll actually stop it. Like some people we meet come on, they have a chat, and then we don't see them ever again, or they go away for a bit and then they come back and they go, sorry, I'm a bit busy, but I'm back now. Can I catch you up? Let's put the link in and then you can get ready to close.
Like that sometimes. I don't know. We've been going for the end of May. We've been going every week since the end of May. That's still another month. 11 months. 4 or 5 days a week.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I've seen many a go on because we end up on the after hangouts. And they go on much longer than the main hangout sometimes.
I'm back.
Not always. Yeah, can you put your links up again for your website and your YouTube and Facebook?
Well, they can just click my buttons for
YouTube.
That's easy enough. They're on YouTube. They can't find me on YouTube. That's the first challenge. Find my channel then. That's easy enough because we're all on YouTube, aren't we? So, and then I'll put a link in. I did put a link in for there's something important I do need to say about we want a venue. If anybody knows a venue in Manchester, around Liverpool, those areas, I would like to do a free seminar regarding all this information that we've just talked about and what's on the 4-hour video on my channel that we did last night, and also included with me, Andy Sovereign and Steve, about recent events. Then if you are interested and you'd like to go further, then find us a venue. Also though, this is opened up to the rest of the landmass, the Anglo landmass, London, north. We'd like somewhere north as well. I'd go to Scotland, I'd go to Ireland, anywhere like that, in the summer times when it's not so harsh to travel to faraway places like that, and the seas are calm to go over the ferries and that, then we will do that. But we're looking for venues, sisters and brothers, to speak in and bring this out for free. There'll be some donations to the trust for it, but nothing, no set fee. Anything you could afford to help with the costs and fees and the venue hire, or if it's free, then let us know where there is free ones, and then we'll see about what we can do to come to a local city, possibly a town. And we're looking to hold an event in May for not May, that's you just said May then, I think July, for a sovereign gathering or a private gathering that we're going to have in a field, in a private field, set up everything, running water, electric, toilets, everything, proper. There'll be a on-site bar, like hotel-y type thing for families and that to use, so it's not just fields and mud and desperation. It's if it's rainy or whatever, there will be bricks and buildings to use as well. So going to have an event in July that I'll let you know about and invite you to privately. You know, you can be invited, but it's a private event on a private land with a private trust. So you see how we roll now. You're getting the idea. When you're private, you're more protected. P stands for private. P stands for protected. P stands for peaceful. You know, it's just remember those. And yeah, I'm going to post this link in, sister, and I'm done. Thank you very much. Lots of love. Lots of positivity.
Yeah. Does that mean that you want to go now?
I'm all right. Yeah, I need to go and sit with our lass and have a cuddle. It's 11:30. Have a 4-hour chat till 12:30 in the morning. And yeah, I will catch up with you private, sister, and chat. I would like to talk to you about certain things in a private capacity, not on air. About just, you know, what I'd like to chat to you about. Or we can, next time we have a chat, I'll come on earlier and give you the lowdown then. But it's not imperative. It's just time is a bit precious at the minute.
That's okay, my darling. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for putting your links in the chat room. And yeah, thanks for helping everybody. And you know that you're there to help.
Yeah, you guys help me though. There's times where I call on you. I've just called on you guys now for help. So it's a circle, and like the law of attraction and the power of intent. If there are rules in this universe and galaxy and existence, and these rules cannot be broken, then that's an intelligent design. And where you've got intelligent design, you always have a creator of it. You never find in nature some information that's bundled together in a catalogued way that happened to be there by chance. So I need to collect you guys that are good at going out, getting information and cataloguing it, and already have it catalogued, that are classed as, I don't know, freaks and misfits, like I've said before, ADHD, you know, dyslexia, autism, some kind of spectrum, short, tall, fat, don't fit in, whatever it is, then you know, there's a lot out there that we collect, and we appreciate everybody in their unique design, shape, vibration, knowledge, and what we do is go and undo what you've had at school and that indoctrination, and once we do that and you see it, the reward we get for that is far more than any financial outlay could ever imagine. When you empower somebody and you do that regular, you get empowered back by whatever it is that's watching you, that's governing these laws that cannot be moved, changed, monitored, traced, sourced, but they're there and they're intelligent. And so that tells you that there is something. And I know for a fact that once you get on that and you what would you call it? You would say submit. I never say submit ever, but you submit to the divinity and the matrix of. See Greg Braden talks about that a bit, you know, competently. But Greg Braden, yeah, and the divine matrix and stuff, and how they cure cancer in Beijing in a hospital in 3 minutes with no medicine, and they let you watch it, they show you them do it. And when I saw that, I went, no. I've seen some CGI before. I need this is important, and we're done. And I went back and I rewound it. I thought they've just cured cancer in a hospital with no medicine in 3 minutes. Let me see that again. There's a matrix there. You can plug into it and you use it, and that reward that we get. It's not that we are the big I am. We just know I have collected a lot. My friends have collected a lot, and together, a lot of people that have collected a lot can do a lot because it stands to reason. There's not much you can't do or find a solution for a problem. And when you get that from us or our family, what you do for us is amazing. So it's as simple as that. It sounds corny as hell, but that's what they don't want you to do, because when we do that, they see they see what we do. We're quite clever. The pulse of thought, I would call it the potentiality consciousness. Trouble about potentiality consciousness. Come and have a swim in that and see where you end up.
Can I ask you something? Do people come to you over health issues?
Sometimes, yes, the cancer related ones, or health and well-being. Not so much nutritional, but yeah, daily, like philosophy, how you could adapt your consciousness or feelings and magnetism to things. Yeah, messages generally, not like chats.
Yeah. Well, when you want to have that chat with me, I'll ask you something. Anyway,
Yeah.
very much appreciate everything. And yeah, go and cuddle your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's not a euphemism. It's just I'm tired and I need to sit down now and unwind. I do like to chat, but after a bit, it just like, oh, that's enough now. Even I get tired.
Yeah, it's quite tiring. Nicely tiring, but it is quite tiring. Suddenly you think, whoa. I think it's when you sit down as well. If you're always on the go and doing things, then you sit down and you do a hangout and you're talking, and then suddenly it sort of hits you that you're actually really tired.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
as
everybody.
compared to what there is out there to do for employment and to get like servitude wide, if I could, I've seen the reports, I've seen the TV, I've heard the news, the media, the radio. Nobody ever tells it you like it is. What you need, what we all need, is like a few, like not Jeremy Clarksons, but that kind of mentality, consciousness about the place, just to tell us, like when you hear something and it's publicly coming out of I will say an institutional announcement or a media announcement. It's constructed, it's thought of, it's laid out, it's been presented in a certain way, and it's not always accurate and concise, and it's glossed. You get me? That how we hear information and how information is brought to us in a controlled and contrived way. And what we're starting to do is actually bring the information to ourselves, by ourselves, from ourselves. And I'd just like to say that I'm going to look at radio shows soon and not be so much present on the camera, but maybe do some radio shows. I'm looking for guests to come on and recommendations to talk about not just law, but current politics, events, and health and wealth, we call it, the health and wealth show that I and Andy do. If you want to see Andy, he's on a video on some of the links, the playlists that I've done recently, and yeah, we'll look forward to doing that because yeah, the camera sometimes is a bit intense, and I think a radio show, if they don't have to show the face, I think our family will be a bit more encouraged to come on. If there's no visual and it's just a voice. So we'll see how it goes. Watch this space, Sovereigns Radio or something we'll call it.
Wow, sounds like you're nice to hear you being positive, because it is deep and dark, but it's good to hear you being positive. And
yeah, the connectivity is the key. Just to be connected, isn't it? Is the key to respect, trust law. We're teaching trust technology. Others are teaching trust technology. You can go anywhere to find out about it. You don't just have to sit with us and take what we say. But the trust. Do you trust me? I trust you. I haven't met you physically, but I know your intent and I can feel it and I can sense it. So we have trust. But there isn't an awful lot of trust in the world, is there, right now? We're lacking in it, in the government, in ourselves, in our whatever, it's all around us. But we have trust, and that's important. You see, it's not just a law trust; it's actually a real life thing that you have.
I've noticed it actually. It's like you can see you're very passionate about what you've got, and you've done so much research and you're so knowledgeable about it. You kind of I can't see anything else. You know what I mean? It's like that's you, really, isn't it? That's you right now, kind of thing. Like, it's good work. It's good, and it's good in everything you've said. I've enjoyed your hangout. It's been good.
Oh, thank you, brother. And are you, brother? Fist bumps.
Yeah.
To you and Karen. Who else was there? Patricia and I don't know that one. Was that
Josh?
Yeah, that's Josh. But Josh was there, and then he said, "I'll be back in a minute," but he's not come back. He's got kids, and he's hours behind. Oh no, they were moving some reptiles or something. Oh, yeah, anyway. He was there, but anyway, Lev, Patricia, is anything you want to say? Because maybe we'll end the hangout.
No, I'm done. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. We were cutting out and I couldn't earth properly, so I didn't know if you were
done that a lot. Yeah, it has been a lot cutting out. I've struggled tonight.
Yeah, but I think on the actual copy that the chat room are listening to, it doesn't happen like that. But it does for us on the panel. I don't know if Patricia, I think Josh would have said hello by now. Patricia. She might take a second to come in. Not sure if she's there.
She might
No.
be asleep.
No, I don't think she's there. Yeah. Anyway, thank you to everybody in the chat room for listening and all your comments and everything. Big flat earth hugs. We're back tomorrow. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Lev. Thank you, Josh. And thank you so much, and David.
Yes, thank you. Peace and love.
Next one.
Okay, when we're back
Chatting with you.
tomorrow. Yeah. Big flat earth hugs. Mwah.
So, see
Fist
you later.
bumps.